Welcome to Learners Academy. This is Mona Bhatia and today's poem is Life by Charlotte Bronte. It is a motivational poet and it tells you how not to give up. It tells you the positive aspects of life. Now without further ado, let's go to the poem. Life. Life is a wonderful poem written by Charlotte Bronte. This poem gives you important life lesson and this is a motivational poem. I'm going to give you line by line explanation of the poem. So here goes. The explanation: life, believe, is not a dream, so dark as sages say. So the poet is trying to say that the life is not as dark or as gloomy or as painful as sages say, means the wise men says. That means she's trying to say that life is bright, she's hopeful, she's drawing our attention to the positive things. After morning rain foretells a pleasant day. So pleasant day is a metaphor. Alright, so oft means often. So what she's trying to say that a little morning rains means the difficulties that are seen in the beginning may actually turn out to be a signal of joyous time ahead. It may be indication or it may be a hint of a pleasant day, means happy and pleasant moments in the future. Sometimes there are clouds of gloom. Now clouds of gloom is again a metaphor. She's trying to make us optimistic by telling that sometimes there may be clouds of gloom, means sadness or confusions or problems. She says these are transient. Transient means temporary, and that like grey clouds, they will not stay for long. Clouds, they disperse. So is the case with sad times. They don't stay with us for long time. And you must have heard that every cloud has a silver lining. So she says, if the shower will make the roses bloom, oh why laments its fall? She says, if little rain helps the roses to bloom, then why should we feel sad and when the rose falls? Because rain will make new roses bloom again. Now the blooming of a rose is a metaphor for happiness or success again. So next is, the poet is trying to, what is she trying to convey here? She's trying to convey that if the problems we face, they make way for better times ahead, because failures are the stepping stones to our success. We must always be hopeful for better times ahead. The next line: rapidly, merrily, life's sunny hours flit by. So here she says life's sunny hours, that means the moments of joy and happiness, they pass swiftly, very quickly. Next line: gratefully, cheerfully, enjoy them as they fly. So what should we do? We must enjoy each and every happy moment. We must express our gratitude as they go by. Because what though death at times steps in and calls our best away? She gives a reason why should we always enjoy happy moments, because you never know what lies ahead in your life. Poet says, what if at times death takes away the someone who is very near and dear to us? Alright, so then at that time sorrow seems to win, means sorrow takes over hopes and happiness. So calls our best away is a euphemism used here. And see, then sadness, at that moment sadness will engulf us and defeating all the hope around. Alright, so that time sorrow seems to win. What though sorrow seems to win over hope and heavy sway? So we feel as if there is no tomorrow, all the doors are shut, there is no future. Alright, so the struggle to come out of as a winner is very important. This struggle will help you to fight, give you a fighting spirit. Every difficulty has something to teach you. Alright, now the next line: yet hope again elastic springs. Alright, so hope has that elasticity, you know, like a spring, it again bounces back. Hope is the strongest of all feeling and can get us through all the trials of life. If we hold on to hope, we can emerge victorious despite all the sadness, all the glooms, or all the trials that we go through. So according to the poet, hope is undefeated, even though it has been overcome by some other things for some time, but it is unconquered. So the hope is unconquered. All right. So though she fell, still buoyant are her golden wings. All right. And she comes back, hope comes back, bounces back, because hope sustains. Now the next line, still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well. In these lines, hope is compared to a bird with the golden wings who has fallen but not been defeated. So next line says, manfully, fearlessly, the day of trial bear. So the poet concludes by saying that we must bear our hard times bravely, fearlessly, and manfully, because for gloriously, victoriously can courage quell despair, because courage can only end the sorrow gloriously and victoriously. We shall overcome anything in our life if we hold on to one thing, and that one thing is hope. You should be courageous and do not fear and be brave all the time. So it's a wonderful piece of poetry. Figures of speech of the poem Life by Charlotte Bronte. In the second line you can see there is alliteration as well as there is a use of the word as. So there is a simile also. Repetition of letter S will make the figure of speech alliteration, and because there is a comparison of quality of life being dark to prophecies spoken by sages. So there is a comparison made by using word as. So there is a simile here. In the third line there is a morning rain. All right. So we have a figure of speech which is metaphor here, and because metaphor as difficulties are implicitly compared to rain, which is followed by pleasant day. Now pleasant day is again a metaphor, because here day is a metaphor for the journey or joyous times ahead. All right, but there is also one more personification here, because it foretells. You mind it, there is a word called foretells here, because personification figure of speech is used here, because morning rain is given the animate quality of foretelling. All right. Now sometimes there are clouds of gloom. Now there is again a metaphor here in clouds of gloom, because the problems are implicitly compared to clouds. All right. Now we have another roses blooms. So when we the roses, they are new opportunities and better times are implicitly compared to the blooming of roses. So there is a metaphor here. Now while laments its fall, there is an interrogation, because where there is poet is not seeking an answer by asking a rhetorical question, but telling us that we should not feel sad about the fall of roses. Now life's sunny hours, again sunny hours has metaphor, because happy times, joyous moments are compared to sunny hours, as hours, sunny hours will not remain for long. So sunny moments, happy moments will also flit by. There is a cycle, nothing is permanent. Now we move on to the next part of the poem. Now continuing the figures of speech of the poem Life, in the first line, in this line, what though death at times steps in. So there is an inversion here, because the correct prose order is not used. The correct prose order should have been death steps in at time. All right, this should have been the correct prose order. Plus there is a personification, because death is given the quality of human being. Alright, so there is a personification. Now in the next line, and calls are best away, and death is given the quality of calling also, so there is another personification. Next is euphemism, which is a very important figure of speech here, because this euphemism is a gentle way of expressing the unpleasant idea, maybe of a loved one dying, or when some disturbing ideas are expressed in a tactful way or a gentle manner. So the next line has sorrow seems to win. There is a personification here, because sorrow is given human quality of winning over hope. Now we come to the next line, which is highlighted in green, manfully and fearlessly. So the figure of speech here is tautology, because both these words almost means the same thing. And then we have in the second line, the next line, the day of trial bear. There is a personification here, because the day of trial has been personified to bear like human beings. Alright, now in the next line, for gloriously, victoriously, again the same meaning words are there, so we have tautology here. Now the last line, can courage quell despair. There are two figures of speech here. One is inversion. The correct prose order should have been courage can quell despair, and there is another figure of speech, personification. Alright, because the courage has been given a human quality. That's all about the figures of speech of life poem. Critical appreciation of the poem Life. The title of the poem is Life, and the title suggests that it deals with various aspects of life and how to deal with them. This is a perfect read, and it's a motivational poem. The poet is Charlotte Bronte. The rhyme scheme of the poem is A B A B, except for the first stanza where the rhyme scheme is A B C B. Now a poet has used many figures of speech, like oft a little morning rain is a metaphor. Then we have foretells a pleasant day is again a metaphor. Can courage quell despair is an inversion, because the correct prose order should have been courage can quell despair. Calls are best away is a euphemism. It's the best example of euphemism. Euphemism is a new figure of speech in this poem. It means a gentle way of expressing an unpleasant idea, maybe of a loved one dying, or when disturbing ideas are expressed in a very tactful way or in a gentle manner. And then we have why lament its fall. It is an interrogation. Alright, then the central idea or theme of the poem is that the gloom and sorrow do not stay for long. They are always followed by happier moments. They serve their purpose. They make us understand the value of happiness. Alright, we can't appreciate joy if we have not experienced sadness, and similarly we can't appreciate light in case we have not seen darkness. And hope is an important factor which decides our ability to defeat sadness, to defeat despair, to defeat the problems. Alright, I like this poem as it teaches me to look at the positive side of everything. Alright, then sooner or later the unhappy days get replaced by happy one. Alright, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Now you remember that I asked you a question at the end of the poem Tansen, and the question was, why do you think Ustad vanished? So the answer for that question is that in the end of the poem, before Akbar could come out of his trance, the Ustad vanished from the scene. The reason is because he must have attained a supreme state of spirituality through singing. He must have attained spiritual enlightenment with his music, because music is a divine form of art. It is possible to attain salvation through music. So that's all about this poem, and that's all about the question that was asked in the poem Tansen at the end of the Tansen video. So keep watching, stay focused, keep learning. Thank you very much, guys.